I've just been harvesting the pupae of the Helicoverpa moth. So its main larval stage, its main stage is as a larvae, and after a couple of weeks it turns into a pupa. Usually out in the field it burrows into the ground after it drops off the plant, and it forms a little burrow that's about 10 centimetres long. It turns into these pupa, and then they hang out in the burrow for about 10 days, emerge as a moth, and then wriggle their way out of the chamber to fly away and start the whole process over again. Sharon Downes. I'm a research scientist with CSIRO Agriculture and Health, based at the Australian Cotton Research Institute in Narrabri. And my day-to-day job is running research that looks at the evolution of resistance in the cotton industry's biggest insect pest, which is a larvae called the Helicoverpa Moth. So CSIRO aims to add value to the Australian cotton industry at all levels through molecular biology, crop protection, plant breeding, and also the sorts of processes that happen after the cotton have been harvested. So I guess if we had to try and summarise that in a single catchphrase, it would be something like profitability and sustainability hand in hand. So the main projects that we're involved with monitors resistance in the Helicoverpa moth to the toxins that have been engineered into the GM varieties of cotton to try and control it. And so we'll go out and sample insects collaboratively with other people in the cotton industry, and then we bring them back to the lab, and then we screen them to look at the frequency of resistant insects in the population to the GM crops. And we use that information to guide the industry on whether or not the strategies that they're using to steward the GM technology is working or not, or whether they might have to change them into the future. And we also do a lot of research looking at the general biology and ecology of this pest to try and inform the strategies that the industry uses to control it in terms of stewarding the GM cotton. So for example, one of the strategies that we use to try and control Helicoverpa in terms of, or to try and slow the resistance of Helicoverpa to the BT cotton or the GM cotton, is to plant what we call refuge crops. And those crops don't have the insecticide engineered into them like the GM crops do. So the idea is that we generate large numbers of susceptible moths that mate with the potentially resistant ones that are coming out of the GM cotton, and then that dilutes the resistance overall. And some of the work that we've been involved with looks at what types of refuge to plant and which refuges produce the most number of susceptible moths for the same area. So I really just fell into the cotton industry because I previously had been doing research that was very curiosity driven and experimental, and I wanted to get back into applied research. And so I saw a job come up at CSIRO that was leading some agricultural research in regional New South Wales, and I thought, that's fantastic, suits me, and I applied for the job and got it, and that was 11 years ago. So I actually didn't know very much about the cotton industry before I applied for the job, but since then I've learned that I was probably very fortunate in picking this particular industry because it's provided loads of opportunities in terms of world firsts, being able to work with GM cotton when it's been rolled out across the industry, being able to work in a very progressive industry, and being able to work on one of the most respected insect pests that's now gone global throughout the world. So it's not just a problem in Australia. Our research is actually very relevant overseas as well. So there is a lot of concern and controversy about genetically modified products in general, and my perspective is that you really need to consider them on a case-by-case situation. And the GM crops in the cotton industry are like a poster child of the good that can come from GM crops. So in this particular example, by using an insecticide that's been engineered into the plant, growers no longer have to spray for the Helicoverpa moth. And previously they were spraying 12 to 14 times per season just to control this one pest. And I think the figures are something like an 85 to 90% reduction in insecticide use across the industry as a whole as a result of GM crops. So in this case, there's no doubt that there's been benefits in terms of reduced risk to the environment, also farm safety, health of workers, and it's just a good all-round example of one of the potential benefits of GM crops. So I think the cotton industry is great for a huge number of reasons. So most people within the industry have a can-do attitude, like there's a wall that gets put up immediately in front of them, and that just doesn't stop them from forging ahead and thinking laterally and truly believing that because they have such a great knowledge base, they can do almost anything. So, and linked to that, they're a very progressive industry, so they're always on top of their game in terms of wanting to know what the latest and greatest technology is, and they're not scared to try new innovations and to be at the forefront of where things are moving, not just in cotton but in agriculture in general. And I think one of the other things that I really like about the cotton industry is there's a very community focused feel about it. If a grower finds out something amazing about the productivity on his or her farm, then the first thing they'll do is run next door and tell their neighbour. So there's a lot more value adding and cooperation and collaboration within the cotton industry, I think, than perhaps a number of other industries these days. But as a research scientist, I don't think that there's anything different between, the quality of research done by men or women. And I think that both genders have contributed equally to a really exceptional research and extension program within cotton that's contributed a lot to its viability and sustainability. I would have to go cotton undies. Cotton undies would be my favourite. Close second, I'm a big fan of the old-fashioned cotton handkerchief. No, I think, a lot of people don't like using handkerchiefs these days, but I find that they dry remarkably quickly. And that they're a lot softer on your nose than a lot of the commercial tissues that you can buy these days.